right, let's go. So today, we're going to learn the numbers, the object form. That's what we're going to focus on today, the object form. So what exactly is the object form? Well, the opposite would be the subject form, which is what we've already learned. I'm sure which many of you guys perhaps know from previous classes, but for example, these three numbers here, these are ones that we've already covered in the past. 1, 4, and 5. Sumut you, watsugut you, and manigit you. This is the subject form. And the way we know that is because of that ending, that you ending. Notice all the numbers except 9 end in this you. This suffix, when you see it, it usually always refers to the subject of the sentence. So let's kind of talk a little bit more about that. A lot of this is kind of review, but also more instructional and explanation. So like you guys, I think familiar with this phrase. If I say sumogo ni deka, that means the woman eats, right? The woman eats. And so the woman is the subject of the sentence because she is the one eating. And remember, this first word, su, always tells you who the subject is, right? This is all review, something I've explained before. The su tells you the mogotni is a woman, she eats. But what if I wanted to say, one woman eats? One woman eats. Well, we need to use the subject form of the number, okay? So that's what I have here on the bottom, this bottom line. Sumut you mogoni deka. Sumut you mogoni deka. One woman eats. Again, we have that you suffix, which tells you it is the subject. It refers to the subject of the sentence. It is one woman, okay? In technical terms, if you like all the fancy linguistic terminology, grammar terminology, then this word sumutyu is functioning as the adjective that modifies the word woman, okay? But if you want to say, I see the woman eating, I see the woman eating, it changed, there's more going on here because now I am the one eating. I mean, yeah, I am the one eating, therefore I am the subject of the sentence. But what do I see? I'm not the one eating, sorry. I am the one seeing. And what do I see? I see the woman eating, okay? I am the one who sees the woman eating. Therefore, she is now the object of the sentence, okay? She has become the object. The woman is now the object of the sentence because she is what I see, okay? And to say that in Numu, and this is all leading up to the numbers, so bear with me. We're getting to that numbers. But to say I see the woman eating, we would say ne kamogo ni dekade puni. Ne kamogo ni dekade puni. Remember, again, by way of review, I've said in a previous class that article ka tells you the woman is the object now, okay? The ka comes before the object of the sentence. I see the woman eating. Ne kamogo ni dekade puni. All right, so now we're finally getting to the object form of the numbers. If we want to now say I see one woman eating, where she has now become the object instead of the subject, well, okay, first we start with our root word for the numbers, right? Like, again, for example, what I have here, 1, 4, and 5. And we want to take off that suffix u, the y-o-o. We've now taken it off. So we're left with the root here, the root of each of these words. Sume is a root of 1. Watsugwi, the root of 4. Manigi, the root of 5. And in place of that u suffix, we're going to add who, H-O-O, okay? H-O-O. So, sumuhu or watsugwihu, manigihu. That hu suffix indicates the object of the sentence. So we can finally know how to say, I see the woman eating. You would say, ne sumuhu moroni de kerepuni. Ne sumuhu moroni de kerepuni. Because again, she is the object of the sentence, okay? I think it might be helpful to use this sentence right here. And if you saw the post I made on Facebook or Instagram, this is kind of more of an explanation. This sentence, semut yumorotni, semuhunana puni, means one woman sees one man. So that first one, semut you, it's telling you it's referring to the subject of the sentence. Semut yumorotni means one woman, she is a subject. She is the one who sees. And what does she see? Semuhunana, one man. So that word for one changes whether it's referring to the subject or the object of the sentence. And that's the same for all the other numbers, okay? All right, there was a bit of an explanation and instruction going on there. You guys following? Any questions? Is that making sense? All right, then. So one other word changes form. And this is the quantifier that we also learned in the previous class when I wanted to ask you how many. Remember, we were saying how many people are there? It was this word you, which when used as a question, as an interrogative, means how many you. But what do you notice about this word? What does it end in? It ends in that same suffix that you see on all the numbers in the subject form. It ends in you. So again, this is only used when asking about the subject of the sentence because it has a you suffix. If I ask how many people are eating, I'm asking you about the subject of the sentence. Therefore, we use this form, you, okay? But if I want to ask you about the object of the sentence, well, we do the same thing. So if I want to ask you, how many people do you see? Now I'm asking about you. What do you see? You are the subject. But how many people do you see is referring to the object. This can be a little maybe complicated, but again, you do the same thing. You take off that suffix you and you add who, which I have here. Who. Okay? Who. You use that when you want to ask about the object of the sentence. So here's an example. Who ubuni. Ubuni, which is asking how many young women do you see? Ubuni. How many young women do you see? Well, in this case, how many are there? There was only one, right? So you would say ne semehu seadem buni. Ne semehu seadem buni. I see one young woman. One young woman. So to say two now, okay? Wahatyu is the subject form. Remember, wahatyu. Of course, we just drop that you. So two becomes wahahu. Wahahu. But although this is a fine way of saying it, it's very common for people to drop the H and it just becomes wahu. Wahu, like what I have here. So if you want to say, I see two young women, say ne wahu suzu abuni. Ne wahu suzu abuni. I see two young women, rather. I see two women, two young women. Ne wahu suzua buni. All right, that was a lot of talking there. Again, I want to make sure we're understanding everything is making sense. So are we good? We need to slow down, review anything, go back.
Can you go back a couple of pages?
Yeah, which one did you want to see?
I think it was when you started using that Wahoo sentence about yeah.
So wahatyu is this part would be the subject form. And then wahahu, wahahu, again, is just you've removed that suffix "u" and you add "hu," wahahu, wahahu. But most people drop that "h" and you just pronounce it. It just kind of blends all together. And so the waha, 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 waha becomes wa, wa. You just pronounce it longer. Was that what you're asking about?
I believe it was 2 pages back when you had a sentence. You wrote a sentence right after you said "put you." There was a sentence after that.
There was the question, the very first question that I asked with that word, or yeah, was
Yes, yes, that's
ubuni.
the one. Can you hang on?
What's that? That's the one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can give you time to write. Yeah, give me time to write that down.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so this is the one that means how many young women do you see? So hu suzua ubuni. So ubuni means you see, you are the subject of the sentence. But since we're asking what do you see about the how many people that you see, that's why that word you changes to the who object form. Who suzu'a ubuni. How many young women do you see? And then in this case, of course, again, it was ne buni. I only see one woman, one young woman. Any other questions before we move on? Because I'm going to start asking you guys this question now. I'm going to start asking you the question. We can
Okay,
begin responding.
the
What was that?
next slide with the answer. What you answered.
Oh, this was the answer right here.
The next slide after this one? Yes, that one. Thank
Yeah, so this will be the template that you will begin to use when you ask when you're answering the question. So when I ask you, who blank ubuni, who blank ubuni, how many blank do you see? This will be your template. You will say ne blank buni. You will say ne, and then you'll say whatever number of the people you see. So I see one woman. I see five boys. I see three children, right? But you will use all the numbers. And again, as usual, we will progressively add on all the numbers as we move forward. So currently, all we know is 1 and 2, right? So that's what we'll start with. Sumuhu and Wahoo. And again, we will walk slowly through this, okay? So this is the first slide. And I would call on Alyssa, but she just got on. So Chrissy, we're on to you. To Mare Nagwa, to Uni. Look to the right side. Huhu, Bibia Wabi Ubuni.
Ne wahu pibia wabi puni.
Aha, bija. So I asked, how many old women do you see? Huhu, Bibia Wabi Ubuni. And she says, "Ne wahu bibia wabi buni." I see two old women. Ye she oinagwatu buni. On the left side, look to the left side. Huhu bibia wabi buni.
Ne semehu pibia wabi puni.
Ja. The answer was ne semehu piawabi buni. I see one woman. Ne semehu piawabi buni. I see one old woman. Sorry if I'm saying things in English incorrectly. I see one old woman. Ne semehu piawabi buni. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Remember, when it's a single, it's piawabi. But when you got plural, it's pibiawabi. Okay. Same thing with this one. Is I got Dylan is up next. So if I asked you here on Naguatu on the left side, kuhu dwiwitsi ubuni.
Ne semehu dua biji puni.
Aha. So again, for those, there are some who just joined, like Alyssa and that. So what we're doing is I'm asking about, we're focusing on the object form of the numbers this time. Okay. So the object form, the numbers, the suffix or the suffix at the end changes. So in this case, I said who. I'll write it in the chat for you guys since we moved on from the thing. I said who. That was the question I asked. Who. In this case, oops, spelled it wrong. Who. Who dwibitsi ubuni. How many young, or I should say, who dwibitsi ubuni. How many young men do you see on this left side? Who dwibitsi ubuni. How many young men do you see? And his answer was ne semehu. Ne semehu dwibitsi ubuni. I see one young man. So semehu is the correct form of the object form of the word one. All right, now Dylan on this Tumare Nagwatu on the right side. Huhu turuibitsi ubuni.
Ne wahahu dua biji puni.
Aha. Ne wahu turuibitsi buni. Or ne wahahu turuibitsi buni. I see two young men. Again, and then for those who just joined, this is either one of these two different ways is how you say the object form of two. Wahu or wahahu, okay? Wahu or wahahu. So he said, ne wahahu duruibitsi ibuni. I see two young men. Yeah. All right, and Monica, are you guys able to talk?
Yeah.
All right, so oinagwatu on the right or the left side. If I say huhu momoko ni ubuni. Yeah. Ne semehu mogone buni. I see one woman. And I don't think you were here last week. You guys weren't here, but I introduced a new word. This is kind of like a general word for elders, which I don't know if you can see the chat on your phone, but mumuadibu. I wrote it in the chat. Mumuadibu. Oops, I spelled it wrong. Mumuadibu. Mumuadibu means kind of, it can mean elders or older ones. Technically, it just means old aged. So this word can be used literally for anything that is considered old aged, even if it's not a human. But yeah, it can also refer to elders, people who are of older age. Mumuadibu. Mumuadibu. So if I ask you about them, if I say Numu Yaduan, what was the answer? Ja, togi ne wahu muadib bunni or ne wahahu muadib bunni. I see two elderlies. Ja, ja. All right, now let's get on to three. Okay. The word for three, again, this, what I have here is the subject form. It's what we've already learned, right? This is the subject form. Bahit you. Bahit you. You guys should all know this by now. Bahit you. And before you write what I'm going to put next, though, be careful because there's more to it than this. You would think that all you do is you drop the U and you put Bahihu, but hold your horses, okay? Not yet. Bahihu. So these three letters in the center, Ahi, 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 basically no one pronounces that I'm aware of say it's Bahihu, okay? Because these Ahi, 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 you just say it fast, it becomes I, okay? I. And so what you have is what I have here. This is what it is. Baihu. Baihu. All the dialects I'm familiar with, this is how they say three in the object form. Baihu. Baihu. So, I mean, technically it is Bahihu, but no one says that. It's just over the years, who knows how many years of just the language developing, this is what it's become. It is Baihu. Baihu. This is the three in its object form. Baihu. Baihu. Okay. All right. And Rebecca, are you there? You want to try this out?
Okay, I'll give it a try.
Perfect. All right. So Tumare Naguatu on the right side. Huhu na atsi ubuni.
Na Baihu Nanatsi Buni.
Ya, togi. Perfect. Ne paihu na atsi ubuni. Or the way you said it is accurate also. Ne paihu na atsi ubuni. I see three boys. Ja. Yeshi oinaguatu on the left side. Huhu mumwadu ubuni.
Na Samayo Biawabi Samayo Waitsi Buni.
Okay, so you're breaking them. You're saying them individually. Okay, ne sumuhu piawawi. I see one old woman and ne sumuhu waitsi bunni. I see one old man. That is true. Or you can say ne wahu mumwadaba bunni. I see two elders. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
And next I got Thatch. I know you joined late, but are you catching what's going on?
Yeah, give it a shot.
I think you responded. I don't know what's wrong with my audio. I can barely hear anybody.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's go to Marina Guatubuni. Look to the right side. Huhunan na ubuni.
No. Wahahu. Tuibitsi bunni.
You guys look like a little bit older than Tweety.
Nana.
Yeah, they definitely look like men.
It was more like a teenager thing. Okay. nana. Nu wahahu nana puni.
Ne wahu nana puni. Aha. Ne wahu nana puni. I see two men. Ishi oina got on the left side. Huhudwaki ubuni.
Nu paihu suaki buni.
Yeah. Ne paihudwaki ibuni. Ne paihudwaki ibuni. I see three girls. Yeah. All right. Let's go on to back up to the top. Alyssa, you said your phone died. You had to reconnect. You want to give it a shot?
Yeah, I made it. Yeah, I made it for the beginning though, so I was good.
Okay. Oinagwat, left side. Huhu momoko
Left
ni
side.
ibuni.
Ne wahoo momokoni buni.
Ja, ni wahu momoko ni ibuni. I see two women. Ishi damare
I know.
na.
I was debating if they were young women or normal women.
Yeah, those ones in my mind, those are the women. So on this other side, huhu duamubi ubuni.
Ne paihu duamobi buni.
Ja, dogi ne paihu duamubi ubuni. I see three children. Good job. All right, now on to 4. 4 is what I had in the introduction, so you already know what sugwityu is the subject form. All we do is we drop, again, that u suffix at the end. So the object form becomes watsugwihu. Watsugwihu. 4. So right here, watsugwityu suzua. 4 young women in the object form, 4 of them. All right, now we're gonna have 3 sets of people. Get a little more challenging. On to Chrissy, back to you. Right here. Huhu na atsi ubuni.
Ne paihu na sipuni.
Ja, ne paihu na atsi ubuni. I see 3 boys. Yeshi, way over here. Huhu wagwa itsi ubuni.
Ne watsugwihu wagwa itsi puni.
Ne watsugwihu wagwa itsi ubuni. I see 4 old men. Ja. And finally, huhu dwaki ubuni.
Ne wahu tuaki ipuni.
Ja. Dogi, good job. Back to Dylan. You there? All right then, over here. Huhu na atsi ubuni.
Ne sama hu na zipuni.
Ne sumuhu na atsi ubuni. See one boy, yeshi. Huhu na ubuni.
Ne wahahu nanana puni.
Ja, ne wahahu nanana buni. I see 2 men. And finally, huhu mumwadu ubuni.
Ne wasakwi hu mumuapata puni.
Ja, good job. He said, ne watsugwihu mumwadub buni. I see 4 older people, elders. All right, you want to go right on to number 5, okay? Number 5, very easy. Manigi is a subject form. We drop the u suffix, as you all should know by now. Becomes manigihu. Manigihu. Okay? Manigihu. Manigihu. Actually, I'm just gonna start going through all the numbers. Okay, we're gonna go through all the numbers now. So the next one will be 6, and just like this is formed just like the word for 3, pahityu, because na pahityu is 6, but it becomes na paihu. Na paihu. This is 6, the object form. Na paihu. Okay, na paihu. We have 6 young men, becomes na pahi turuibitsi. Na pahi turuibitsi. 6 young men. And 7 is what is the long one. We know narakwat sigwityu is a subject form, but the object, again, just simply ends in hu. So this one doesn't change except for that final suffix, narakwat sigwihu. Narakwat sigwihu. Narakwat sigwihu. Narakwat sigwihu. 7 young women. Narakwat sigwihu sizu'a. 7 young women. That's a long, long word. Narakwat sigwihu. 8 also doesn't change except the last suffix. So it becomes wogosagwihu. 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 So we got wogosagwihu duamuri. Ne wogosagwihu duamuri bunni. I see 8 children. Ne wogosagwihu duamuri bunni. And the number 9 doesn't change, okay? So just sumakaru, that's just 9. Very easy, it doesn't change. Obviously, this is the only number that does not end with that suffix u, okay? This is just a different, it's all together in its own category, it's different. So it does not change whether it refers to the subject or the object of the sentence, okay? It's just simply sumakaru up. Sumakaru upu wagwa itsi. 9 men. As for the word 10, as far as I know, to the best of my knowledge, you don't add any suffix to it. It's just sumamano, okay? Sumamano. The subject form, you guys know, it does have that suffix u. Sumamano u. Sumamano u. But 10, to the best of my knowledge, all that I have been aware of, it's just simply sumamano. I mean, I would imagine if someone were to say sumamano hu, it would make sense, but I've just never, in my experience, heard it or encountered it. Maybe someone else here has. So altogether, here we have them in one visual, in case you missed any of them, okay? Sumuhu, wahahu, or wahu. 3, baihu, watsugwihu, manigyu. Oh, that's another thing. Oftentimes the H is kind of dropped. And so like what I have written over here on the bottom for 5, it'll just be, the H will drop sometimes and it'll just be manigyu. But this is for all the numbers. So even 4, we would say watsugwiu. Or 1, samu, samu. So the H kind of can just drop off. But yeah, it doesn't have to. And then again, 6, napaihu. 7, narakwatsugu. 8, wogosugwihu. 9, sumakaru. And 10, sumamano. Okay. So that's actually all I have for this week. This week has been very, very, very rough for me and busy. And so I wasn't able to get as much as I wanted to, but It's all right, because if you guys have any more questions or anything like that, then we can, I'm here. Otherwise, it's always Mabunidua. Hopefully I'll try to get this class and last week's class posted by the end of the week so that we can have it to review. So again, you guys have any questions, I'm here. Otherwise, Dr. Jadogano, good night. Mabunidua. See you later.
Thank
you
you,
so
Josh.
Ijayu Punirwa.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Konnichiwa.
Mabunidua Panka.
Thank you. Vielen Dank.
What'd you say?
Vielen Dank.
Mabunidua.